Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NFL announces today the salary cap for this year will be just over $255 million. That's almost $31 million per team more than last year. It's the biggest jump in the 30-year history of the cap and $10 to $15 million more than teams were expecting. The Warriors host the Hornets tonight in San Francisco. Steph Curry's team now has won 9 of its last 11 games.
Our season's been all over the place, and for us to just stay in the moment, stay in the present. We know if we can get in the playoffs, we're a tough out no matter who we play, but you got to get there. So that's all we're focused on.
Steph Curry, right now the Warriors are 10th in the West. 3 swimmers at the University of Wyoming were killed in a Colorado car crash. That crash on Thursday took the lives of 19-year-old sophomore Charlie Clark, 21-year-old junior Luke Slabber from the men's team, and 18-year-old freshman Carson Muir from the women's team. 2 other team members were hurt but are expected to survive.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, I'll tell you the hottest NBA team that you need to be paying attention to. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. Welcome aboard. I'm hearing an echo in my voice. Echo. There we go. All right. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We are in Lake Charles today and fired up to be so. Our friends at Mockler, a new partnership here in Lake Charles, opening a new facility, new distributorship, and we're thrilled to be here. And if we're going to come to Lake Charles, we got to visit with our bud. Are you kidding me? How could we possibly come all the way down I-10 West here to Lake Charles and not visit with the head coach of the McNeese State basketball program? Our good bud, Will Wade, is here to start the show. How are you, man?
Good to see you, buddy, man. Been a while.
It's so good.
It's been a while.
It has been. Congrats, by the way, on the success your team's had here from Jump. It's been one of the more fun stories of college basketball to follow this year. Did you expect this?
Not quite like this.
Okay.
I knew we'd be good. I knew we'd be very good in the Southland Conference. I didn't know we'd come together as quick as we did and win a lot of the non-conference games. I mean, it's really hard to win non-conference games. We won 3 bye games where the teams paid us, $90,000+ and we went in there and beat them. I mean, you can go a whole career and not win 3 bye games over the course of a career, and to win 3 in 1 year is very, very challenging. So I didn't know the non-conference would go like that. I knew we'd be very, very good once we got into Southland Conference play, but it's been a fun ride. Now we got to finish it strong.
I remember early in your time at LSU, y'all went to Maui and you beat Michigan in a big upset, and now you've done it here. Do the Michigan people hate you?
I don't know. They beat us in the NCAA tournament that
that's
year.
True. That's good. Okay, fair enough. They got the one that counted.
So
fair enough.
They beat us in the NCAA tournament in the round of 32 that year.
You and I
think they would trade those.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. I just remember the wins.
Yeah, I like that.
Is it true that coaches remember the losses more than wins?
Partially, yeah. I mean, as you said, you pointed out the wins, and the first thing I thought of was losing to them in the round of 32.
Maybe that's how that goes.
Had a lead with 5 minutes left and couldn't finish.
You and I spoke over the summer, And I remember you talking about how you're building your roster. And it was so interesting to me because with the transfer portal and everything, there's the perspective. And I know our friend Ross Dellinger had a piece this week where he talked to a lot of G5 football coaches where they basically acknowledged, look, all of our best players are leaving. And what struck me so much when you and I spoke is said you're actually recruiting to that. Like come here because we can get you there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's no different in my mind. I mean, look, we're having a lot of success this year. My kids I got kids, they're going to be out. I mean, I got one kid came to me and said, hey, such and such reached out through somebody and offered me this. I said, bro, you got to go. I said, it's time to get to stepping. I don't know why. Why are you? I mean, I appreciate you letting me know. I appreciate you talking to me. I'm glad you ran that by me, but you got to go. And so, and like I told him, I said, well, look, we'll use you and we'll go get the next person just like you, and we'll do the same thing. It's no different than when we were at the higher level. We were at LSU. You know, you tried to recruit kids and get them to the NBA or get them drafted. And then, you could try to hang on to a kid for an extra year maybe. But my philosophy was let them go. When they're ready to go, let them go, and then we'll sell that to the next guy. And so the same thing here. We're trying to get kids that want to go high major. We'll be a stopping point for them to get to high major. And then once they go high major, we'll go tell the next guy that we're recruiting, hey, look, this is what we did for him. We took him from here. He averaged this. Now he averaged this for us. Now he's going high major, and it worked out for him. So let's just go do the same thing. You can't be scared to just replenish and keep it going. And so I just think it's the same thing you do at the high major level, just different. Instead of sending them off to the NBA or sending them off to the G League or wherever it may be, now you're sending them to another high major program, and then you go get the next batch and try to do the same thing and then sell it again. Rinse and repeat.
It's a one and done approach.
Pretty much, or two.
Yeah.
Depends on how the development goes with a freshman. But I think there's a lot of positives that can come from that. And for us, the market inadequacies, you're always looking for where is junior college, because the high majors are no longer recruiting junior college at all, because what you could get in junior college you can now get in a transfer. Very few high majors recruit junior college to begin with, but now basically none of them are. I've saved 3 to 5 schools that will recruit junior college from high majors. So now that filters down. At McNeese State, we can get a top 25 junior college player. So if you get 1 or 2 of those are impact guys. So, we're going to look in the transfer portal, but then we want junior college kids, bring them here, play for us for a year. Then, the high majors will take them from us, maybe that they wouldn't take from junior college. And so you're looking for, places where, or, spots and places where you can maneuver where it's a little bit different than the traditional route, and I think junior college is a place for us where we can do that.
Is this model? Will Wade is our guest here on site with us. Do you think that's sustainable? Let me ask you a different way. Do you think the current culture around college athletics with the portal, NIL, what you're discussing, do you think there's a sustainability around that in all of college sports?
No. I mean, look. What other industry do basically you're asking the people who pay for the tickets to pay for the players too? Right? Usually if you pay for the ticket, the player's included, right? When you go to a pro sporting event, and then the organization that you pay for the ticket from,
from that revenue, sure.
From the revenue. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Of course.
But no, I don't think it's sustainable, but I think it's a very it's a tough time, because what you really have to, and I don't know legally how there's a way to do this, and that's what's really tough, is eventually some of the athletes have to be employees. But how do you make basically the revenue producing athletes employees and the non-revenue, because if you make everyone an employee, there's not enough money. There's not enough money to go around. I know people will say there is, but not to distribute it how it should be distributed. But there's obviously issues if football and men's basketball, and in some cases women's basketball, are employees, and then your women's soccer team is not employees. And so they've got to work a framework around all of that, and they're trying to thread a thin needle with that. And until then, it's just it's going to be what it is. But I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I think there'll be some clarity to it. My personal take is, I think football should operate as a separate entity. And you just have one big football conference with everybody who wants to play. You got 60 teams, 65 teams. Whoever has a certain budget that wants to get in. That's fine. If Iowa State says they can't get in, they're not in. If Georgia State says we're going to put all our money into it, they're in. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whoever wants in, whoever wants out. And then regionalize the other conferences around all the other sports. It makes no sense to have every sport having to do all this just because of football. Now, the SEC's case, all the states connect. It's
they were big on it being contiguous.
Yes. All that. Now, the Big 12, the
Big Ten,
the Big Ten especially.
How about UCLA going to play at Rutgers?
Yeah, I mean
in volleyball,
right? And so I just think we need to get our senses back to. We've got to find a way for football to operate separately, and in some ways, men's basketball needs to operate, under some employment model, and then you can get back to everything else being a little bit more normal. But no, I don't think it's I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's and it just wears off. If you look at just in football, if you look at the teams, in my opinion, that really came out really strong when NIL came out. You look at Tennessee, you look at Miami, you look at A&M. Those
Florida
would be
State,
kind of the first 3 or 4. Well, all those were schools that hadn't won anything in forever in football. They had been good in the past, but they hadn't won anything forever. So their people were going, all right, we're just going to try to, quick ticket, and let's see if we can just buy us a good team. Well, now that hasn't worked, that stuff's kind of dissipating for those schools. And some of the schools that maybe weren't as motivated, who had won championships recently, are now maybe a little bit more motivated. So I think there's such ebb and flow to that. You can't sustain that, and I think that's where college athletics is right now. And so until there's able to work through some employment and collective bargaining, you can't control the transfer portal until there's a contract. Until then, they're just going to get killed on antitrust. You're right. I mean, the reality is right now, every kid right now can transfer as many times as they want, and there's probably a case to be made that every kid should have 5 years of eligibility. In fact, if somebody challenges that in court, the kids will get 5. They'll be able to stay until they get a graduate degree.
Got Van Wilders running all over the place.
You'll have some old cats out there running around, and so I think until they can, all of that gets under control, it's going to be tough. But I think in the next 2 to 3 years, hopefully it'll stabilize and we can figure out some sort of model that works for everyone. Because McNeese State isn't the same as LSU, and LSU isn't the same as Northwestern State, and Northwestern State is not the same as Tulane. Like everybody just needs to kind of get in their niche and play it from there.
Yeah, part of that is accepting which niche you exist in, and I know a lot of programs have struggled with that. Always one of our favorites. I know you got to get to practice. I appreciate you for coming, but before you go, I did want to ask Lake Charles, man, what's this community is fantastic. What's it been like for you being here? Everyone sings your praises around here.
Well, everybody likes a winner.
Yeah, no doubt.
so when we win, everybody likes you. But the community's been incredible. They've welcomed my wife, my daughter, and I. We absolutely love it. Just tremendous people, just like all the people across all the state. I said this all the time, even in my time at LSU. I've never been anywhere where I've had such a connection with the fans. And a lot of our fans in McNeese are, LSU fans, and then are McNeese fans, and or vice versa. And so, it's the people have been great. Everybody's been welcoming. The city, the area has just been phenomenal, and everybody's excited. We've sold out every weekend home game at McNeese, and so everybody's just fired up and excited. We hadn't won a whole lot around here, so they're pretty fired up with the newness of it all. We just got to keep it rolling and finish strong.
He is our good bud, and for anyone who doesn't like that, I say bud. I don't really care. Thank you as always, man. Congrats on your success. We're always pulling for you, man. Thank you for doing this. I know you had to move your practice schedule to accommodate to come sit here.
When I heard it was Matt Moscona, I said we're gonna move things around and we'll get it figured out. To hell with practice. Yeah. We got a radio show to do.
He is a colossal liar, is what he is, but I appreciate it very much. That is Will Wade. This is After Further Review. We're here in Lake Charles today at the new Mockler facility, and we're thrilled to be here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. If you're a business owner, you're going through the rat race, trying to hire, if you struggled with hiring, if you're not efficient, if you feel like you're losing money and productivity because you keep turning over employees, there is a solution. It's Glow Resources. They're based out of Baton Rouge, but they've got offices in New Orleans, in Houston, in Miami, and all over, and they place employees all over the country and the world, be it skilled blue-collar labor or their white-collar division. It's Glow Resources, GLO. Go online, glowresources.com. Check out their social media as well. They do really creative, funny videos. Trust me, it's great content. You'll love it. GLO for Glow Resources. Complete employer solutions. Check them out online. Remember, at Glow Resources, they guarantee success. If the employee they place in your job does not work out within 60 days, they'll find you a new employee for free or give you a prorated discount. It's glowresources.com.
Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bighorn trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We're thrilled to have you aboard with us here. A bit of a special Friday edition of the show. We're in Lake Charles, so you know our friends at Mockler Beverage, our great sponsor, Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, of LSU Athletics, of the Saints. Mockler Beverage purchased a distributor here in Lake Charles, Leesville, Alex. So they expanded their footprint. And today is the day where everyone involved with Mockler came here essentially to introduce themselves to everyone here. And so it's like all of these companies coming together, and they invited us to come and to be a part of this day, and we were thrilled to do it. So we're ecstatic to be here with our friends from Mockler. They're literally having a meeting with hundreds of people in their big gathering area. Paris County Line is going to be here. They've got food and plenty of ice cold Bud Light and other tasty beverages as well that hopefully we get to partake in a bit after the show. But we're thrilled to be here. So that's why we popped over. Thanks to Will Wade for joining us here on set. He literally, I'm not joking, like he did bump practice back to come over from campus to here to be here at the start of the show. He's going back for practice. So that was very, very gracious of him to do that. We're very grateful. It was great to see him. I mean, it was a short visit, but always good to see Will Wade. All right, we got a ton to do. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We will talk a little bit in the next hour about Pels got a win last night. Christian Clark will be here with us from The Advocate, NOLA.com. LSU plays Mississippi State in hoops tomorrow. The men do. Justin Frommer covers Mississippi State. He'll be here next hour. Tasmin Mitchell, of course, former Tiger great now on Matt McMahon's staff. He'll be here in hour 3. So we got a ton to do. LSU baseball as we speak. They are taking on Stony Brook over at the box. They're heading to the bottom of the 4th. It's Stony Brook 3, LSU 2. Stony Brook got up early with 2 runs in the 2nd. LSU responded with 2 in the bottom of the 2nd. Stony Brook's put up another run here in the 4th. So Thatcher Hurd's worked around some struggles, but continues to chug along. So we'll keep you posted on that game. I'm certain there are a lot of people who came to the show today expecting me to talk about Derek Carr. If you haven't heard the news, the Saints restructured Derek Carr's contract today. And this is the annual cap gymnastics the Saints have to do to get within cap compliance. They were some $80 million over the cap. And so we knew they were going to restructure a lot of deals. Yesterday it was Eric McCoy, which saved him in the neighborhood of $7-8 million. Today, Derek Carr, which gives the Saints about $23 million in cap relief. And there are no doubt more cap gymnastics that will have to take place to get the Saints within cap compliance. A little bit about Carr's deal. Actually, before I get into the numbers of it, I want to tell you how I feel about it. A lot of people were expecting today for me to come and yell and scream and rant about the Saints restructuring Derek Carr. But I'm not going to do that because I've already done that. At the time of the Senior Bowl, I believe it was Luke Johnson who had the report that the Saints were going to restructure Derek Carr's contract. At that point, I yelled and screamed and did all the temper tantrum thing you would expect about how the Saints are continuing down this path. Now, I fully expected the Saints were going to restructure Derek Carr's contract. I was hopeful, however, they would not. And we'll get into the numbers and why it's significant here in a second. But it was 2-3 weeks ago that we learned this was going to happen. It's just that today it's now happened. It's almost like if you're a parent and your daughter gets engaged to a goon and you hate him and you protest their impending union and you let your feelings be known about how much you disapprove of this union. Well, by the time the wedding gets there, you've spoken your piece and there's nothing more you can do except put on your suit, walk her down the aisle, and just go sit in the front row and be a supportive dad. Well, that's kind of how I feel today. Y'all know how I feel about this. I told you how I feel about this. Today's just wedding day. Today's just the day they restructured it. So it's like, if you don't want something as life-altering, what about, if you don't love your spouse's side of the family and you all decide you're going to go do Christmas at their family's Christmas deal out of town and you're going to go spend your entire holiday there and you object mightily, but you suck it up and go do it, and then you just got to go live through it. Well, that's now. That's what today is. So, no, I'm not going to yell and scream about what happened today because I've already done that, and you know how I feel about it. It's just now it's okay. Well, let's assess the damage. So here we go. The Saints had originally signed Derek Carr to a 4-year, $150 million contract with $100 million of it guaranteed. The reason I was hopeful the Saints were not going to restructure, again, I think we always knew that this was the high probability, but the reason I was hopeful was if, in fact, the Saints didn't restructure Carr and he stinks this year in 2024, they could have off-ramped out of the contract. You would have only had him for 2 years. Yes, you would have had to pay him the $100 million, but you could have off-ramped off of the contract where it would have cost you less to have Derek Carr not on your roster. Well, that's no longer the case. With the restructure, yes, you save $23 million against the cap this year. But in 2025, Derek Carr's dead cap number is $40 million. Now, his cap hits 50. This is next year. This is 2025. So he's your quarterback for 2024, no doubt. In 25, his cap number is 51, but his dead cap number is 40 million. So you could say, well, you could cut him next year and save $11 million. You could, but you'd also have $40 million of dead cap money, which would be by far a record number of dead cap money, meaning that's money you don't get to spend on players you know on your roster. So effectively what this did was guaranteed you're not off-ramping off of this deal until at least after 2025. You have a minimum two more years of Derek Carr. So if you're a Saints fan and you're not convinced that Derek Carr is going to lead you anywhere, you got to, like me, you just got to suck it up, grin and bear it for 2 more years of Derek Carr moving deeper into his 30s when even at his prime was maybe a borderline top 10 player at the position. Maybe you could have argued at his best. He ain't nowhere near that now, and I don't think he's going to get better into his 30s. That's just my opinion. But the Saints now have shown you what they're doing. They are committing to Derek Carr. So he's going to be your quarterback minimum 2 more years, and then you could off-ramp in 2026. For the 2026 season. But even if you do that, here's the gift that keeps on giving when you approach the cap in the manner in which the Saints are. Derek Carr financially will be on your books until 2028 because they added 2 voidable years. I don't mean to bore you with all the numbers and the stats and everything. Just understand that even though Carr's contract would end in 2026, they added 2 more voidable years on the back end. So no matter what, Derek Carr is going to cost you $17 million in 2027 and $5.7 million in 2028, even if he's not on the roster. Like those are voidable years because they put years, fake years onto the end of the contract to put money there to spread it out even further. So it's the gift that keeps on taking from you. Actually, is Derek Carr in this contract, but the Saints have committed themselves to him. What they're telling you is, we believe Derek Carr is our guy. We believe that Clint Kubiak will come in and maximize Derek Carr. We believe he's the guy that's going to bring us back to glory. I look at that and laugh. You all know that. I've spoken my piece about this. Well, today is just the day where they walked down the aisle and said their vows and exchanged rings and kissed, and then we all went to a reception where they had mediocre food and and drinks, and you drank some booze and danced to a DJ and then went home. That's today. So, awesome. We're stuck with Derek Carr. But we already knew we were going to be. The other part of today, with this news, and again, it's what we knew and expected, was this restructure. But it also shines a little bit of a light on Jameis Winston's future. So with Derek Carr and this restructure, it certainly speaks to Carr being your starter for at minimum 2 more years. Well, Jameis Winston gave an interview to, I believe this was SI.com. Yes, this is Saints News Network. And he was asked about it. Jameis was asked about his future. And these are written quotes. So I don't have audio. I'll just have to read the quotes for you. He said, quote, "Well, what's next with me is wherever God and whatever he has." I'm sorry? Do we have the audio? Oh, we do have the audio. My apologies. Okay, my apologies. I'm sorry, Muse. Thank you. I didn't realize we had the audio. Okay. No, here it is. Forgive me. Okay. Play number 1. Here was Jameis. My apologies. Here was Jameis.
It's such a love for this city that I just admire the individuals, and I admire the culture and integrity that this city possesses. However, my goal is to be, and my desire is to be a Super Bowl winning starting quarterback in this league. And right now, that doesn't look like a very clear picture with the New Orleans Saints.
So Jameis is telling you, he's been in New Orleans for 4 years. He backed up Drew Brees. He had an opportunity to be the starter. He got hurt twice, and then they brought in Derek Carr, and clearly the Saints have committed to Derek Carr as their guy. So Jameis is telling you he wants to be a starting quarterback, a Super Bowl winning starting quarterback, and that opportunity isn't in New Orleans. So while he loves New Orleans and would like to be here, the opportunity to be a starter here doesn't exist. So it's hard to imagine him staying if there's another franchise that wants to give him that opportunity. One more from Jameis about his role here in New Orleans.
I played every role that I could play within an organization, and I'm always going to be an uplifting teammate, uplifting, man throughout the building. However, my heart truly desires to be starting and taking advantage of the gifts and talents that God has provided me to be able to have this platform, to be able to build a relationship with the community and be able to inspire young kids and be able to uplift others. So that's my main goal, man. I'm still chasing my dream. Like I'm blessed and grateful for the opportunity that the NFL as a whole has provided me. And I just know that I want to, and I truly desire to be back as a starting quarterback and win the Super Bowls.
If there is a franchise willing to give Jameis Winston that opportunity to be their starter, then the Saints this offseason will be looking for a new backup quarterback behind Derek Carr, who today officially is clearly entrenched for at least minimum 2 more years as the Saints starting quarterback. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. We're brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We are today live in Lake Charles at the brand new Mockler facility as they expand this partnership here in Southwest Louisiana. We're thrilled to be here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet across from the Mall of Louisiana. Tell you every single day, look, if you're looking for something to do on the weekend, you're looking for dinner plans, get by Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel. It's probably worth calling to see if you need a reservation because I've told you for a long time now that Tallulah is the best kept secret that won't be a secret much longer, and it's not. The word is certainly out on Tallulah, but it's a great spot if you want to go have a cocktail, craft beer, great wine selection as well. They've got a fantastic whiskey selection. It's one of the things Nathaniel has continued to do over there is continue to expand a fantastic whiskey selection. It's the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. Go check out the terrace there at Tallulah, so they have great indoor-outdoor flow as the weather gets nicer. It's a great spot to go enjoy that space and this time. It's the Renaissance Hotel.
The best-kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
The best-kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us. and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Rolling along here on a Friday edition of AFR. Out at the box, Stony Brook leads LSU 3-2, top 5. Thatcher Hurd has given way to Griffin Herring with one out and a runner on first base. So we'll keep you posted with what's going on out at the box. No Terrio today. By the way, major congratulations to Macy and Georgia Terrio and the rest of the Parkview Baptist Eagles soccer team. Division III state champions, fired up for them. A great match last night over in Hammond at Strawberry Stadium. And it was a scoreless tie heading into extra time, still scoreless, went to PKs, and Parkview Baptist won. So congrats, Georgie. A little Georgie Terrio made her PK. Macy had an awesome strike on her PK, but the goaltender guessed right and blocked it up. But the Eagles win the state championship, so we're fired up for all the Terrios. So big shout out to the girls for bringing up the Terrios, man. All they do, lots of rings, championships, banners everywhere with that Terrio family, I tell you. But anyway, we'll have Terrio back with us next week for the Riot Radio Hours. But we're here in Lake Charles. He coaches with his brother Wes at Dunham, so a little bit of a kind of a disjointed Friday, so we apologize for that. But Terrio will be back next week. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Oh, by the way, Muse, if you would please do the what I requested. If you are looking for a little entertainment on Saturday, I was talking to my buddy Brock Cantro, who's the AD over at BRCC, and I understand this does not appeal to any of our audience outside of Baton Rouge, but BRCC basketball is hosting Southern University of Shreveport tomorrow at the Baton Rouge BRCC campus, and they're going to have a performance by Cupid. That's right. Crank it, Muse, the Cupid Shuffle. It's 4 p.m. Over at their campus. And also, it's Catholic High Day as well, so the Catholic High cheerleaders will be there. It's free admission for the students. Of course, our friends over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys have been great sponsors of BRCC Athletics. But BRCC against Southern University of Shreveport tomorrow at their Baton Rouge campus, and a Cupid will be performing at the game. You pull out all the stops, man. You want to talk about the wedding analogy I just gave a bit ago? How about old Grandma and Aunt Maud doing the Cupid Shuffle, or every darn body there at the game tomorrow. BRCC and Southern University of Shreveport, 4 o'clock at the BRCC campus tomorrow, Saturday. And a Cupid will be performing. All right. We do it every day about this time, although because we're on remote, Muse has the honors. Muse, hit him with a little around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia running backs coach Dell McGee is in the final stages to become the new head coach at Georgia State. That's according to Matt Zenitz. McGee has not officially signed a contract, but was offered the job on Friday. On Three's Dogs headquarters is also confirmed. McGee, of course, played running back at Auburn and in the NFL. His only head coaching experience was as the interim at Georgia Southern. He's been on Georgia's staff under Kirby Smart since 2016, but seems to be headed to Georgia State.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Lane Kiffin and the Rebs, they're getting set to bring in a former Ohio State assistant to help on their coaching staff. This is according to On Three's Zach Berry. The Rebels are hiring former Buckeyes quarterback coach Corey Dennis. In the past, Dennis has worked with some extremely talented quarterbacks and cultivated talent relationship with both. 9 years on staff at Ohio State. The last 4 coaching quarterbacks for Ryan Day.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And the Southeastern Conference has suspended Alabama forward Mohamed Wagoo. Of course, he was the guy who elbowed the Florida player in the back of the head. That was Alex Condon that he elbowed in the first half. And now he's going to miss a game for that. He has been a rotational reserve for Alabama, playing 10 minutes per game and averaging 4 and 3. That's around the SEC.
All right, we're brought to you by our friends over at Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. That's pure-restoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Listen, we live in the mold capital of the world in Louisiana. It's cold, or it's wet and it's humid. So those are breeding grounds for mold. If you have mold at your home or your commercial building, they can help. It's Pure Restoration. They'll come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. It's Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. But remember, not just mold, also odor and other harmful pathogens. If you've had an outbreak of any type of cold or flu virus, some of them which I can't say, you understand, but you know what I mean, talk to Pure Restoration. You go to the website, get more info. It's pure-restoration.com, or just text or email me. Scone, what's the mold thing you talk about? It's Pure Restoration. Just a quick thumbnail on the weekend ahead in the league. In basketball, of course, LSU is going to host Mississippi State in a night game at 7:30 on Saturday. But before that, a nice day of basketball. You got a pillow fight up at Bud Walton Arena with Missouri at Arkansas. But then Vandy is at Florida. It's a big one for the Gators as they try to bolster their resume. Number 20, South Carolina is at Ole Miss. Bama visits Kentucky in a ranked-on-ranked matchup. Kentucky really needs a bounce back there. Georgia will host number 14, Auburn. Tennessee at the Tommy Bowl hosts Texas A&M. And Mississippi State, as we mentioned, is at LSU. So there's your slate in the conference for Saturday around the SEC. One of the things, and I hate to bring this up, but one of the angles that Jimmy Ott has told us about all throughout this basketball season as we've done Otter Locks is, and it's worked time and again, bet against the team after the court storm. So if a team storms the court, right, he gets an upset win, that fans storm the court, bet against them the next game out. So when you look at LSU and Mississippi State, we'll wait and see what the line is whenever it's posted. But it's one of those where even if LSU is a favorite in the game, it might be a lean toward Mississippi State. I hate to say that, and I hope LSU keeps it rolling because you'd love to see them with this manageable 5-game streak these 5 games to finish the season, to see LSU finish really strong. But it's one of those where you'd be playing against a trend if you went with LSU on Saturday against Mississippi State. We'll see if the Tigers, off an emotional win, can get settled, hopefully with a really good crowd at the Maravich Center on Saturday night, and see if they can beat Mississippi State, which is making a push in its own right toward the NCAA tournament. Okay, it's after further review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here. There was an LSU Board of Supervisors meeting today. A lot of people have asked about renovations to Alex Box Stadium and some other things. Some of that was decided today. So I want to touch on that as we wrap up hour number 1 here on AFR. A ton to do still, so glad you're with us. We will talk to Christian Clark about the Pels. Pels won last night. That's coming up in about 30 minutes. LSU, as we mentioned, hosts Mississippi State in basketball on Saturday night. Justin Frommer will be here in about 45 minutes from right now. He covers the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So we're glad you're hanging out with us here. Stick around. It is a Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in, carry out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV. Of course, you got LSU baseball and basketball on campus on Saturday. So Maybe you're getting out there for the 1 o'clock first pitch, and you want to hang around and watch LSU basketball against Mississippi State 7:30. I got an idea. Go watch the Tiger baseball team, and as soon as that game's final, head on over to Pluckers. Eat you some wings, drink you some cold beers, and make your way to the Maravich Center for a 7:30 tip with LSU and Mississippi State. Hey, before or after every LSU baseball game all season long, Pluckers is a great spot. The Nicholson location is just south of Alec Stadium. Remember, Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana as well. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV, Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Great opportunity to get by Don Juan this weekend. Go relax, have a cocktail, find cigar, watch some of the games. Great spot right there in Town Center in Baton Rouge. The LSU Board of Supervisors met earlier Friday, and there was a lot discussed, and some of the public comments that were made as part of the record, I think are going to be a storyline that continues to move forward. But the thing that is maybe of most consequence for the fan experience, I would suggest, are the approved renovations to Alec Stadium. So this was, I know that LSU put this out for bid earlier in 2023, with an idea, with a target of having this work done prior to this baseball season. It obviously did not happen, but now these renovations have been approved for this offseason to be ready for the 2025 baseball season. So as soon as this season ends in June, they'll begin the renovation work with the idea of it being ready for February of 2025, so for the start of next baseball season. So a couple of things. They will, and we showed the renderings of this on the show some time ago. I can't remember if I shared them on social. If I haven't, I will again. But the renovations, the most consequential thing for the field itself is removing the bullpen from the outfield lines, which it's kind of stunning because, as I was told back in 2009 when the box opened, it was like when they did the renderings, they forgot about bullpens, and so they just were added late to the field, which is why they are very out of place in shallow or narrow, I should say, foul territory. But look, let's just be very honest. It's hazardous. I mean, as fielders range down either foul line, they're navigating a bullpen on the field. So this will remove the bullpen from the field and put them in the outfield under the bleachers. Essentially, the outfield bleachers in right field, the bullpens would go under there. And as I've seen, there's a gate as part of the outfield fence that will allow access to the field for pitchers that are coming out of the bullpen. They'll also add 160 seats to Alec Box, and it's going to be a premium seating area, and it's really cool. I really like what they've done. So it is. I'll try to describe it again. Pictures will describe this much better, but you'll have more space than just being crammed in like a sardine down in the bleachers down the line. You'll have more space, but for each seat as well, you'll have a bench, sort of like a table, in front of you. So you could put your concessions or whatever it may be on that table. And there will be one of the really cool features are like these cup holders that are like all-degree cup holders. So your drink in the cup holder will keep it cool as part of that table. So a lot of really cool features that they're looking at doing. So and I should clarify with the bullpen, I'm talking about the right field bullpen, which will go under. So the home bullpen, which will go under the bleachers in right field. The visitor bullpen in left field will remain down the line, but they're going to have as they put it, like it's going to be a new wall that they're going to have constructed to add a barrier from the field of play. So yes, it's going to force some of the seating kind of as it sort of moved down the line. So the projected cost between $1 and $3 million. We'll see how it all goes, but it's I think something that I think most would agree is long overdue. The challenge of the box is that when it was built, it was first, right? LSU spent $40 million to build the new box. And in 2009, it was the most pristine, palatial college baseball estate in the country. There was nothing like it. But what we've seen since then, obviously, in the 15 years that it's been open, is many other programs come behind and build new stadiums or renovate their stadiums. And so it's like the arms race has... Whereas when LSU set the bar, they set it so high, but subsequently you've seen Mississippi State do a gut renovation of Dudy Noble. You've seen Florida build a brand new stadium. Look, South Carolina, their stadium came after LSU opened the new box, although that's been some time now. Kentucky has built a new stadium. Alabama did a gut renovation of Sewell Thomas. So many of these, Arkansas has done millions of dollars of renovations. So many of these ballparks that were that looked like dumps compared to the new box 15 years ago have now exceeded the amenities of the box. So a lot of it is just part of the keeping up with the fan experience. And so, listen, Alec Box Stadium is gorgeous, and we love it. And there was a certain charm of the old box, but the old box was a dump. It was a dump. We can say that. Like, you can love it. You can have great affinity for it, but you went to the bathroom in a temporary trailer down the left field line. I mean, it was a dump. So the new box is gorgeous and wonderful in so many ways. But yes, there are things that they need to modernize. They could have better seating. They could have more premium seating. There are spots where you could have better sidelines. Yes, all of those things, the getting the bullpens off the field. So it's a process of doing that, and they're taking those steps, and I think that's a great thing that they're doing. So Board of Supervisors approved today renovations to Alec Box Stadium, which should be ready in time for the start of next baseball season. Okay, it is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do indoor shutters as well over at Relief Windows. A lot of times you may look and say, well, this company can save me 10%. This isn't like buying eggs where you go to the grocery every week and, okay, this week you're going to go get eggs cheaper because they're cheaper. You buy windows once. The thing I would encourage you, if you're thinking about hiring any other company other than Relief Windows, ask them how long their warranty is. And then remember, Relief Windows offers a lifetime warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. It's Relief Windows. Why would you call anyone else? Windows, door, siding. Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. Hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I'm Doug Brown. Thanks to a dramatic increase in media revenues, the NFL announces today this year's salary cap will be $255 million. That's almost $31 million more than last year, the biggest jump ever. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reports the Saints are hoping to free up about $80 million in salary cap space. Quarterback Derek Carr will be the first to restructure his deal, saving the team about $23 million. The Vikings hold the 11th pick in the first round of the upcoming draft. Will they try to move up? ESPN's Dan Graziano.
I think the Vikings are trying to figure out now, before they get there, what's going to happen with Cousins. Can they get him re-signed? What would that deal look like? And if they feel like they can't, I think they'd become a very interesting team, because I think they'd be a candidate to move up into that top 3 and draft a quarterback.
Dan Graziano on Greeny. A federal judge in Tennessee grants a preliminary injunction that prevents the NCAA from punishing athletes or boosters for negotiating NIL deals during the recruiting process or while in the transfer portal.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, I'll tell you the hottest NBA team that you need to be paying attention to. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We are here at the newly minted Mockler beverage in Lake Charles. Lake Charles, Alexandria, Leesville. Very cool. A partnership acquisition, however you want to term it. But awesome to be here on a day where all of our friends from Mockler are here to celebrate this new partnership. So Patrick and Tim Mockler are here, Chris Davis, Mary Lewis, all of our friends who are Dan Palmer, Christian Lockacher, all of our friends, Cord Cole, are all here. Everyone from Mockler is all here today in Lake Charles, so it's such a cool thing to be a part of. They invited us to come shake hands and meet the crew here in Lake Charles and everybody part of this great company, and we're thrilled to be here. So I got to have lunch here, got to meet literally hundreds of people that work for Mockler all over the state of Louisiana and do the show here, and we'll hang out and have some dinner and some fellowship afterwards as well. So excited to be here in Lake Charles today. Baseball Tigers trailing Stony Brook 3-2 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th, first and second with Michael Braswell up. So we'll keep you posted if you might be able to get a clutch hit here and not up this game. So and he does not. He flies out. So LSU still trails Stony Brook right now, 3-2, and going into the 7th inning. All right, it's after further review. We will talk some Pels in 15 minutes. They've now won 8 of 9, blowing out Houston last night at the Smoothie King Center, and the second of a back-to-back tonight at home against Miami. Christian Clark, who covers the Pels for NOLA.com, will be here in about 12 minutes from right now. Brian Kelly was a guest on the Paul Feinbaum show, and look, the media opportunities for Brian Kelly in the off-season aren't plentiful, as opposed to during the season whenever he's speaking to the media every week. And so whenever he talks, it's interesting to get some perspective on things. And one of the things Brian Kelly said this past summer, and we talked about it on the show, was Brian Kelly said in an interview that he felt like his team was a year away, that typically by year 3 is when you're ready to take the next step. And that's something that he reiterated in this interview with Paul Feinbaum.
So going into year 3, I think more than anything else, I feel really comfortable with the standards and the way things are being done on a day-to-day basis. You can feel it in the building. The players understand the expectations. And clearly, we need to take another step up. 10 wins is really, I think, the price of admission where we need to be, but we need to take that next step up here. And so I'm happy that we've stabilized the program, put it back in a position where it needs to be. Now it's taken that next step.
That has got to be music to every LSU fan's ears because, yes, winning 10 games is great, but if we're being very honest, it's 9 wins in regulation. The 10th win has come in the bowl game each of the last 2 years, and that's not the expectation. It's not 9-3. It's even 10-2. Now, a 10-win regular season this year will certainly get you into a college football playoff, but you'll have to do it against a daunting schedule with an opener in Las Vegas against USC, as we all know. 2 teams very similar. The last 2 Heisman Trophy winners, both teams replacing their defensive coordinators, and it starts there in Vegas, but Kelly talked about the difficulty of this schedule in year 3.
It's awesome, right? I mean, this is what college football is about. This is why I came to LSU, is to play this kind of schedule. Lincoln Riley's done a great job of bringing in great defensive coaches. They're going to have a really good football team. They're kind of going through what we did defensively in terms of retooling that defense. They're going to just restock on offense. They're going to be obviously very good there. So it should be an exciting opener. We're excited about the schedule. It's going to be a difficult schedule, but one where certainly you navigate that schedule, you put yourself in a great position for, there's 12 teams in the playoffs. And so we figured that if this kind of schedule, you play well, you got a great chance of being in the playoffs.
For what it's worth, as and I keep reiterating this, I feel like this is a comment. I know I say this a lot, but I really feel like this is something that as we build off-season narratives that you're going to hear me say a lot about the LSU schedule. On its face, like when you look at the names on the schedule, it looks very daunting. There's USC and UCLA and Alabama and Ole Miss and Oklahoma and Florida. Like it looks very daunting. And I'm not trying to suggest that it would be easy by any measure. But what I do believe is when you start to peel back layers of the onion, you start to realize, like USC, their defense was atrocious last year and they lost 5 games. UCLA is 95th in the country in returning production. We know Alabama has lost Nick Saban. They lost 33 players to the transfer portal. How good is Texas A&M going to be with a new coach? Florida is projected, their over-under is 5.5. Oklahoma, their projected win total is 7.5 over-unders. They're looking at a 7-5, 8-4 type season. Like, and by the way, the numbers back that up. Bill Conley, who does the SP Plus, looked at strength of schedule. LSU's strength of schedule isn't in the top 15 in the country, which last year you were in the top 10 in the country. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun schedule because there are a lot of interesting games, intersectional matchups with USC and UCLA. Obviously, Oklahoma coming onto the schedule, Bama and Ole Miss coming to Tiger Stadium. Like, all that is a lot of fun, no doubt. But I think it's going to be a much more manageable schedule than it might look on its face. 2 other things that Brian Kelly talked about were bigger picture topics. One of them, here he talks about this current direction of college football with NIL portal and, of course, an expanded college football playoff.
We're going to get into a phase here where it's going to be untarnished truths. I mean, I think it's going to be, here's the reality of where we're at. I don't think there's going to be any card that's not turned over, if that makes any sense. I think we're at a point where, even with talking about comments from Nick is going to be, very transparent in whatever he talks about. There's no more politics involved here. This is about, here's where the game is, and this is where it needs to go. And all things are going going to be on the table for discussion. And I think it's going to be what's best for those teams and those conferences that are intricately involved in what's happening.
One of the points of contention, the pieces of pushback that you will hear, is about player safety. In an expanded playoff, if you have a 12-game regular season, a conference championship game, and then you expand a playoff even beyond 12 to 14 or 16, and you add potentially 3 more games, do you want college football teams playing 16, 17 games potentially? Here was Brian Kelly on the player safety angle.
Well, I think with technology today, I think with the resources that you have today, you're going to have to understand that, 17 is a long season, but it's certainly doable. I think we all have the facilities to do it. Those that can't do it are not going to be part of this. And that's kind of what I was saying. I don't want to come across as crass, but you're going to have to step up to this level if you want to play for a national championship, because that's what's demanded by the TV contracts. That's what's demanded by everybody that wants to see college football at this level. So we have the resources necessary to protect our players and to put them in a good position to succeed over a longer schedule.
It's also worth noting, not every team is going to end up playing 17 games. Only teams that continue to advance deeper into a playoff, number one. And what may ultimately happen is you see the elimination of conference championship games. Again, I'm the one who tells you they're never going anywhere because they're the only reason they exist is a revenue generator. Unless and until they find a way to replace and exceed that revenue, which clearly, if you start talking about a 14 or 16 team college football playoff, that becomes more and more likely. Okay, it is after further review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. First South Farm Credit. That's firstsouthland.com is where you can find them online. Looking to buy recreational property, that hunting property. Look, you're just getting out of the lease, and you're sick of sharing that lease with a bunch of slobs. Or maybe you just want your own. First South Farm Credit can make that. 1,000 acres for agriculture. They'll even help you lease or purchase ag equipment. It's First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. That's the website. FirstSouthLand.com. Your first call in agriculture, your first call for land, your first call should be First South Farm Credit. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review Friday edition brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We'll knock out a quick break. Pels get a win last night. A second of a back-to-back tonight is at home against the Miami Heat. We will knock out a quick break, come back, and we'll take you down to NOLA, I guess where we are now. We're west of NOLA, so we're in Lake Charles State. We'll go east of where we are. Christian Clark from NOLA.com will join us next, talk a little Pels. Stay with us here. It is a Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Watching this game out at Alec Box Stadium, and it's a great reminder that at the box all season long, every single mound visit is brought to you by Action Industries, a great partner of LSU Athletics. And if you live in Louisiana and you know up and down the river those dozens of plants, what they mean to our state's economy, well, Action Industries, for more than 40 years, since 1982, Action Industries has been a great contractor and partner of so many of those petrochemical and refinery markets. Listen, I know this undeniably, is that the only way that a contractor gets into any of those plants to do work is if they have an exemplary safety record, and that's Action Industries, above the industry standard. And the only way you ever get hired again is if you do phenomenal work. That is Action Industries. Check them out online. Check them out on Facebook. Check them out on LinkedIn. Remember, you'll check them out at the box all season long. Every mound visit this year at the box is brought to you by Action Industries.
Bayou Ford has new 23 Ford F-150 STX trucks for only $39,995. $39,995 plus 1.9% financing for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We're all excited to be in this position, and we're grateful to be in this position at this time of season, to have, Zion healthy, BI, pretty much the majority of our team. And now it's on us. It's on us to continue to work together and, look at areas that we're having success, and then the areas that we can improve, we try to get better in and keep stacking up wins.
Willie Green, after the Pels beat the Rockets 127-105, they've won 8 of 9, their first game coming off the All-Star break, and boy, they were impressive. Christian Clark of NOLA.com was there. He's on Twitter at @cclark_13. Y'all give him a follow. Christian, we appreciate a couple of minutes, man. How are you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Really well, and we appreciate the time. Let me just start with what Willie Green said there about the health of this team. Clearly, that's been a narrative surrounding this team for as long as Zion has been here, but it's extended beyond Zion. How much of the success, when you look at this team right now, 34-22, winners of 8 of their last 9, how much of it is a direct reflective of the fact that this is just a healthy team at this point in the season?
I think it's a massive part of their success. I mean, I don't think there's any NBA team that can withstand their best 2 players missing a huge chunk of games, which is what happened to this team in the 2 seasons before this one. Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram were sidelined for a combined 90 games last season. Like, I don't care who you are, you can't overcome that. It's just not something you can overcome in the NBA. The Pelicans, changed some of the personnel on their medical staff. Maybe you could point to that. Maybe you could just point to better luck. And then I think you could also point to, maybe Brandon playing through stuff a little bit more and Zion getting a little bit better shape after the in-season tournament. But that's been kind of the story of the season to me, that the best 2 players are on the court.
Let's talk about Zion. Obviously, you can hardly ever have a conversation about the Pels without having your obligatory Zion conversation. 27 and 9 last night, but the 9 were 9 assists. He only had 3 rebounds. So, point Zion. Give me your thoughts on how that role positively impacts this team.
Yeah, it's something they experimented with a couple years ago when Stan Van Gundy was the coach, and when they went to it, they really experienced this pop offensively for like a 2-month stretch. They were the number 1 offense in the NBA. They've done it in spurts over the years since then, but they haven't done it over like long periods of time. Zion not being on the court has been a part of that. They've really gone to it over the past month, and I think it's looked pretty good. And I don't think it's like hard to figure out why. It's like when Zion is in good shape and he's engaged, he is a really talented offensive player. Like defenses are just terrified of him driving the basketball. Like when I look at a lot of the offense they generated against the Rockets, like Zion just beating his man off the dribble, getting inside and scoring. And like you look at all the other defenders, not just the guy in Zion, like they're all concerned about him driving. So they're like tilted towards him. He passes the ball, and that kind of opens up lanes for his teammates. When he's right, he's really, really good on offense.
Is it sustainable?
That's a great question. And I think, actually CJ McCollum was kind of asked about the point Zion stuff right after the All-Star break. And he was basically like, look, we're trying to get through the entire season. And he basically, he kind of was like, yeah, like I think to me, like my read on his answer was like, you would have seen this more if maybe Zion was in a place where he could handle this workload. And also, this is a big workload to put on a very big player. I think like after the season, maybe you look for like more of a traditional point guard or something. I would definitely have concerns about like 82 games, heavy usage of Zion at point guard. But like right now, it's working, and I think they're going to keep going with it.
Christian Clark's our guest. You'll follow him on Twitter at @cclark_13, Pelicans beat writer there for NOLA.com. I want to ask you about Jonas. In this always perplexes me a bit because he's such a productive player, right? And last night, 20 and 14 for Jonas. But it's always like we have this conversation about, is he going to be with the team? Are they going to trade him? Will he be back? What is the I don't want to call it a disconnect, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say, because it feels like he has tremendous value to this roster. Is there something I'm missing there with Jonas?
Yeah, I think it's related to the Pelicans' best 2 players and their strengths and weaknesses. Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. Like Jonas Valanciunas in a vacuum is a very, very good center. Like, maybe one of the 5 best centers in the NBA. Extremely productive offensive player, a guy who tries really hard on defense, is a great defensive rebounder, but is not a great defender in space. When you're just talking about like fit next to Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson, those guys, they have moments defensively. I would say like at best they're neutral defenders, probably not positive ones. I just think you want to put as many positive defenders next to them, and I think that's why you see Jonas's name in trade rumors sometimes. I think the Pelicans for months have been like on the hunt for a rim protecting center. David Griffin has even talked about it on the record. They feel like, okay, we could improve just the fit next to Zion if we had more of a rim protector, if we have more of a defensive oriented center. But maybe the fit isn't perfect, but Jonas is really freaking good at basketball. He's killed Şengün 2 games in a row against the Rockets. And, Şengün was like a guy people were talking about, like, is he an all-star this year? So he's really good.
How do they match up against Miami tonight?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler is playing. He's been out a lot this year. The last 3 games before the All-Star break. I think like a big thing is just keep him off the free throw line. He's so crafty and good at getting there. Miami needs to win. Like I expect them to be like really motivated. They haven't played after the All-Star break. Miami plays slow. The Pelicans like to play fast. So I think that's like definitely something to watch. I think Miami's like 28 pace, and the Pels want to get out and run. So that's definitely someone to keep an eye on.
Miami tonight, Chicago on Sunday after they'll have a night off, and then you hit a couple of road games with the Knicks and the Pacers. When you kind of look at where the team is right now, big picture, Christian, we know they're leading the division, and they position themselves to get one of those top 6 spots in the Western Conference. When you look at where they are health-wise and what the schedule looks like ahead, what feels realistic for this team here over the next 6 weeks?
I think I have a hard time seeing them finish in the top 4. I have a hard time seeing them finish ahead of any of those teams in the top 4 right now. But I think they could finish 5th where they are right now. Phoenix has got a really difficult schedule the rest of the way. Dallas is a team that they improved some of the pieces around Luka at the trade deadline. I expect them to be in the mix, but I think 5th is where they are now is probably their ceiling, and that's realistic. And the big thing for them is you just got to avoid the play-in. You just can't you can't mess around with it because there's just a lot of luck involved there when it's single elimination or double elimination.
Last thing, I noticed you tweeted earlier today with the injury update. So Zion with the foot and BI with the illness, questionable for tonight. Do we have any update, or when do we plan to know about their status for tonight?
Yeah, I think Willie Green will say something at 5:15 and do the pregame update. Brandon Ingram was in the facility yesterday, but did not go through shooter and was not able to play with what they said is a non-COVID illness. And the Zion one is interesting. He's been listed as questionable for a bunch of games with that left foot bruise, and he's played in most of them. So if you're just going off that history, I would bet he plays tonight. He certainly looked great last night.
Looked good last night. I was about to say. His murder and rims and running the floor. Man, he looked good last night. And hopefully this team keeps it rolling, man. They're fun when they're playing well. Christian Clark, you can follow his stuff there at NOLA.com. Follow him on Twitter at @cclark_13. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for a couple of minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it. It is After Further Review. Friday shows are brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. It's always my pleasure to tell you about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. Gentlemen, if you were thinking of popping the question, why would you go anywhere other than the place that has been helping Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana get engaged for 40 years? It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Locally owned and operated. They will only sell you the finest diamonds in the world. Every diamond before it goes in the case is hand inspected by a family member. If they don't have what you're looking for because they buy for 10 stores, they can get it, or they can make you a custom piece of jewelry. And if you're old-fashioned and you want to surprise her with that piece of jewelry and she doesn't love it, they accept returns. How many places do that? Lee Michaels does, because they want her to be thrilled that every time she looks at that piece of jewelry, she's going to remember your commitment and your love and be thrilled with it forever, something you want to pass down to your children and grandchildren and keep in your family. Lee Michaels wants that relationship. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, we're here in Lake Charles today. Very cool. Our friends at Mockler Beverage they went through an acquisition where they purchased a distributor here in Lake Charles, Alexandria, Leesville. Great company, and we're thrilled to be here for this celebration as all these companies merge together, and everybody from the Baton Rouge and the home offices, and everybody's here today, and they invited us to come do the show and be a part of this celebration, and we were thrilled to drive over and be a part of the day and hang out and do the show. So we'll knock out a quick break. We'll continue. Tiger basketball, they're back on the floor tomorrow, night game against Mississippi State. We'll head over to Starkville to get a preview of the Bulldogs. First time LSU and State will play this year. Justin Frommer is going to join us when we come back. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Friday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always give him a call if you'd rather. 888-8888. That's 888-8888. No matter where you are in the state of Louisiana, they're in every area code. So all you have to do is just dial 888-8888 or go to getgordon.com. Remember, Gordon and his staff, his team of attorneys over 40 years, they have served more than 10,000 Louisiana residents. 10,000 Louisiana residents. And recovered more than $2.6 billion in damages for their clients. You want to maximize what you get Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys can help. Of course, Gordon's done great work, part of the G team with all the NIL deals that he's done, giving great opportunities for student athletes. You can always find out more at GordonGives.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, glad to have you aboard with us here on a Friday edition of AFR. Keeping an eye on what's going on over at the box. LSU trailing Stony Brook 3-2, top of the 8th, but Stony Brook has the bases loaded with nobody out. So Dutton is on to pitch for Griffin Herring, who loaded the bases. We'll keep you posted as this goes along here in the 8th inning to see if the Tigers can get out of this jam without any further damage and maybe find a way to get some offense going and steal a win in these late innings. But Tigers are up against it here, down 3-2 to Stony Brook in the top of the 8th there at Alex Box Stadium. Tomorrow, Saturday evening over at the Maravich Center, LSU will LSU will take on Mississippi State, as the Tigers have had a couple of really, really nice wins. Certainly their 2 best wins of the entire season. Winning last Saturday at South Carolina and then at home on Wednesday night against Kentucky. Justin Frommer covers Mississippi State for 247 Sports. Glad to have him aboard with us here to preview LSU and Mississippi State from the PMAC tomorrow. Justin, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Good. How about yourself? Thanks for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. Thank you for the time. Let's start with the big picture, then we'll go into the game tomorrow. Where is State here with 5 games to play with respect to how they feel their tournament resume stacks up?
Yeah, I think after Wednesday's win against Ole Miss and really the better part of these last 2 weeks where they've gotten on a 4-game win streak, they've gotten themselves in position where 2, maybe 3 more wins probably locks things up for them to get into the NCAA tournament. This is the second straight year now where Chris Jans sort of had them playing with their backs against the wall after struggles to start SEC play, and then they come alive in February again. I wrote after the game Wednesday that I know this team in the past 2 Februarys combined has a record of 10-3. So their ability to sort of fight their way out of a hole and play their best basketball at the right time of the year has been a trait now under Chris Jans, and they're doing it again heading into Saturday's game against LSU.
First time we've seen LSU and Mississippi State play this year. Give us a little bit of a thumbnail on this scouting report on this Mississippi State team.
Yeah, I mean, with this Mississippi State team, really, and like I said, anything under a Chris Jans system, it all comes back to defense. When they're playing well and they're grinding out games, that's when things are going well for them. Obviously, their offensive numbers have taken a step forward this year, which helps, especially in the 3-point shooting with a guy like Josh Hubbard, and even Shaquille Moore has really stepped up over the past couple of weeks with his shooting. To provide that third scoring option with Josh Hubbard and Tolu Smith. But when Mississippi State is winning and playing at its best, it comes down to defensive numbers. During this 4-game win streak, they're holding teams to about 63 points, which is on par to last year when they were a top 10 defense and holding teams to about 61 points per game. So when I look at this Saturday matchup in Baton Rouge, it's a contrasting style with Mississippi State's defense. And again, LSU, as they've gotten a little bit hot over these past couple of weeks, have picked it up offensively in their efficiency numbers. So whichever stat side of the ball sort of has a better night, that's where I see this game going.
You mentioned the win streak for Mississippi State as well. When they have struggled, what has kind of been the Achilles heel?
I think it's a mixture of the schedule that they were playing in, and again, going back to defense. If they're not getting consistent stops and playing that brand of defense that we've come to know since Chris Jans has gotten the start, well, that's when they struggled. You look at that Alabama game when they gave up nearly 100 points, and again, Alabama is a bit of an anomaly because that offense is just so good and they shoot so many threes and spread you out. But that was sort of the tipping point of this season where they sort of figured out if they're going to turn around, they got to get back to sort of their identity and doing things well on that side of the ball to sort of turn defenses into baskets on the other end of the floor.
How good is this team?
I think they have the capability to be a second weekend team in the tournament.
Okay.
If Tolu Smith is doing what he did on Wednesday, commanding the paint, getting in good positions around the basket and finishing and being above average at the free throw line, if Josh Hubbard is making baskets, and again, if they have that third scorer like Shaquille Moore, and if Cam Matthews is doing what he's been doing the past couple of weeks, really on both ends of the floor, being efficient on the glass, creating steals, distributing the ball. And you look at a guy like Keyshawn Murphy, who came back middle of the year after some personal issues and has really changed the dynamic of this team off the bench with a skill set that nobody else has because of his length, his ability to step out and hit a three, and even his passing ability at his size is pretty impressive. They have the pieces to get to a Sweet 16, maybe even further, but this team's also really flawed. They can't shoot free throws very well. Their offense is hit or miss. So as much as I think they can make a run, you're wary about a team like this because of still their glaring issues.
I was reading your preview piece over at Gene's page at 247 if anybody wants to go check it out. And you did talk about State playing on the road. I am look, they've got a look. I mean, it's hard to win on the road, right? They lost to Kentucky, they lost at Ole Miss, at Bama. But I was a little surprised, quite honestly, Justin. I thought LSU would be a slight home favorite, but State's actually a 2.5-point road favorite over LSU in this ball game tomorrow. If State does pull it out, why do you think specifically in this game against this opponent, State would get the win?
Again, I know it's sounding repetitive, but it comes down to defense. If that's able to travel on the road, that's what's going to win a game. You look at their true road win in SEC play, and really all season in Missouri, they held the Tigers to 51 points. And again, I know that the talent in Columbia and their season they're having over there is not great. But if you're holding an SEC team to 51 points on their home floor, you're doing something right. And if that's the type of effort that travels to Baton Rouge on Saturday, that's going to win a ball game.
He's Justin Frommer. I'll give him a follow at Justin B. Frommer on Twitter, part of 247 over there at Gene's page, giving us a little preview of the Bulldogs to come into Baton Rouge tomorrow for a 7:30 tip on the SEC Network. Justin, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the game. Thanks for a couple of minutes today.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, man. Be well. It is After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Of course, you can always go to ShawBillsTire.com, hit the promotions tab. You'll see all of the dealer discounts that they have offered. And Shaw Bills does such a great job because they'll combine the manufacturer's discount with their own in-house offers, combined to get you the best possible price. They guarantee it, as a matter of fact. Shaw Bills guarantees. They have the Charlie's Price Match Guarantee, part of the Charlie's Dozen. Buy tires at Shaw Bills. If you find that tire advertised cheaper, they'll honor the price, and they'll refund you the difference. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. So go to ShawBillsTire.com, but even more so than telling you about the price of tires, the thing that differentiates Shaw Bills and always has been their service. It's just the way when Mr. Charlie opened the business back in 1968, so they're going to treat people like family, and they honor that. It's Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. They're in the bottom of the eighth now out at the box. Stony Brook did strike for two more. So Stony Brook leading LSU, 5-2. Tigers 6 outs away from their first loss of the season. Brady Neal up at the plate batting for LSU with a 2-2 count. Nobody on, nobody out. Again, bottom eight, LSU trailing Stony Brook 5-2. We'll keep an eye on it as we move throughout the rest of the afternoon. Excited. Speaking of LSU basketball, Tasmin Mitchell is going to be with us here in about 25 minutes or so. And looking forward to that conversation. Taz, of course, played on a Final Four team at LSU and is now on staff. Was on staff under Will Wade's, stayed on staff there under Matt McMahon. So excited to talk to Taz, I think more so about the psyche of this team and coming off the big win, because I know it's a betting angle, but it's something we've talked about a lot this season with Jimmy, which is the struggles that teams have had after an emotional win, right, where they've stormed, specifically a court storm, as he points it. You have the big win, your fans storm the court, it's a big emotional deal. How do you bounce back? And it's been a real struggle this year for teams coming off that big emotional win. However, we did see LSU, although it wasn't a court storm, go on the road last Saturday and get a big emotional buzzer-beating win against South Carolina, and then they come back and they beat. It wasn't a buzzer beater, obviously, but it was a late bucket, and then you got the defensive stop. You understand what I'm saying? But you came back after that emotional road win and beat Kentucky at home. So can they do it again? Kind of is the point. So I'm excited to talk to Taz about that coming up here. Well, it's about 30 minutes from right now. All right, it's After Further Review. We are glad to have you hanging aboard with us here on this Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Hanging out with our friends from Mockler Beverage. We're over here in Lake Charles for the day and have some dinner and a little fellowship after the show with our friends at Mockler, and glad to be out here. So drink easy, of course, in Louisiana with a great taste of Bud Light. Let me knock out a quick break, come back. Muse will have Tigers in the pros, and we'll see if we've got an update from the boxes. The Tigers now have 2 outs, bottom 8, nobody on. And Josh Pearson at the plate. We'll see if the Tigers can get a breakthrough here. They'll need some late heroics if they're going to come back to win this one. All right, it's After Further Review. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. If you are thinking about buying a home, call the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James. And I tell you that all the time, and I've been telling you that for years. And LPT Realty has stepped up the game even further because of their marketing ability, all of the different collaboration you get over with LPT Realty. But I also want to speak to you realtors. In 1 year's time, we've seen LPT grow from start to 8,000 realtors. It's taken some of the biggest companies in the world 7 to 10 years to get that type of scale in real estate. LPT's done it in 1 year. If you're interested in learning more about how, call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666. That's his cell. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
IU Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bighorn trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile bank.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start off with a little bit of baseball here today. Austin Nola has a new home. He is now a member of the Kansas City Royals. Of course, just going to add him for some catching depth there behind Salvador Perez. It's a major league contract, I should say, as well for Austin Nola. So he will be there in Kansas City. Was with the Padres 2 years ago. Appeared in 110 games and starting role. Really good year for the Padres. So the next stop for Austin Nola in his major league career is Kansas City. Spring training baseball today. Speaking of those Kansas City Royals, they were facing the Texas Rangers, defending World Series champion. No action for Nola with the Royals, but Josh Smith did have 2 walks in his only 2 plate appearances. No official at-bats, and the Rangers got the victory. In football news, Thaddeus Moss has a new home and a new league altogether. Thad Moss now a member in the CFL as a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Of course, Thad undrafted out of LSU in 2020. Spent time with the Commanders and then the Bengals. Did not appear, I should say, in a single regular season NFL game. Spent 2023 in the USFL, 38 yards and 1 touchdown for the Birmingham Stallions. And NBA action last night, the Brooklyn Nets, the only team with LSU affiliation in action. Ben Simmons, 2 points, 4 assists, and 4 boards. And Cam Thomas dropping 19 points on 50% shooting. And the Nets got destroyed once again. That's Tigers and the pros.
Hughes, don't go far. I want to ask you about this LSU baseball game here in just a quick second. Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified, pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. If you're thinking about buying a new vehicle, I say it all the time. You know, I drive, my wife drives a Volkswagen Atlas. I drive the Atlas Cross Sport, which takes out the third row, a little bit shorter, sleek, stylish design. That car right now is in the body shop because I got hit by a tire. And when I went to go get my rental, I got a Volkswagen Taos. So I'm a believer in the brand. You get the great German engineering, great gas mileage, high performance, safety features without the cost, and it's manufactured right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. For our folks in Southwest Louisiana, Southwest Volkswagen in Lafayette. You can check them out as well. Airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, Muse, I know you're going to have to pot me down so you don't hear an echo, but real quick, Kelly High for the Austin Nola. Austin had gone to the Brewers, I believe. They released him, and now he's signed a major league contract with the Royals. So hopefully he's able to make that team and continue his career. Tigers trailing Stony Brook 5-2. I know, Muse, you're going to recap it all, and they're in the top of the ninth. I know you'll recap it all on Musso at the box, but give me a since I've been here and haven't really been able to lock into the game, give us a little bit of a Cliff's Notes version of the recap. Thatcher Hurd's day, what's going on offensively, how Stony Brook's kind of been able to keep the clamps on LSU.
Yeah, I mean, look, Thatcher Hurd, he did a lot of things better than he did in on opening weekend, but also just not enough better either. I mean, the 4 walks is a negative there, but the 4 straight hits in the second really got him into trouble. There was a misplay in the outfield on that. It was a tough sky. Stony Brook's center fielder misplayed one in the bottom half of the second inning as well. But, that happened. You like the strikeout numbers, but just not – I don't think the total bounce back you're looking for Hurd, although I don't think he pitched terrible. I mean, he only gave up 3 runs in 4 1/3. Griffin Herring was rolling along, and then 2 weak hits got through the infield. Actually, one of them stayed on the infield. The other one got through. You had a runner picked off. Tommy dropped the ball when he was going to make the tag. You had a walk. That's what loaded the bases. And then, I mean, you're bringing in poor Sam Dutton into a bases-loaded no-out jam. That's a really tough spot. Offensively, after the first 2 innings, the at-bats have just not been very competitive for LSU. It's a similar wind that they played in against Central Arkansas in that first game, just a little bit more of the cross, and there's been a lot of fly balls that have just been knocked down. They just, I mean, it sounds cliche. It sounds really simple. They have not played well enough to win this game today, and if they don't score, in the bottom of the 9th inning, they're not going to. And as I say that, that's where they're heading right now, down 3. So I think it's a combination of them not playing very well and it kind of just not being their day.
Tigers trail, thanks, Muse. Tigers trail 5-2. They're heading to the bottom of the 9th here against Stony Brook. Pearson on a double. I noticed Pearson made a throw from the outfield. There was a relay. I guess was it Milam at second, Muse? I don't know if you still have your mic up.
Milam's
made the relay throw. They pegged a runner.
Milam's the second.
Okay, the deficit would be greater, but Milam made the relay throw and to Neal at home and pegged a runner who was trying to score. Otherwise, it'd be 6-2. So that saved a run. So LSU trails 5-2 to Stony Brook as Tigers 3 outs away from suffering their first loss of the season here, middle of the 9th. And it's going to be Bingham due up for LSU here in the 9th. Bingham, Braswell, then they'll turn it over to Milam, who led off. So Bingham, Braswell, No, I'm sorry, Kling. Forgive me. Bingham, Braswell, Kling. Forgive me. Bingham, Braswell, Kling. 7, 8, 9 in the order for LSU here against Stony Brook with 3 outs to go. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our Friday shows are brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Don Juan there in Town Center. If you're looking for something to do this weekend and you're in Baton Rouge, you can always get by Don Juan. Great place to go have a craft beer, a draft beer, a great craft cocktail, and, of course, a fine premium cigar. Don Juan Cigar Bar is right next door to Don Juan Cigar Company, which is the big retail shop. So if you're looking to buy your cigars to stock your home humidor or just going to find a place to pass the time during the weekend, Don Juan's a great place to do it in Baton Rouge, right there in Town Center. All right, been a good show so far. We got 1 hour to go. We'll have Tasmin Mitchell with us here in about 20 minutes from right now. We're looking forward to having Taz, former Tiger Great, of course, is now part of Matt McMahon's staff. And it's a big spot for LSU hosting Mississippi State. The early line is out. Tigers are a 2.5-point home dog in this ball game tomorrow. So we're going to keep an eye on that, and we'll preview it with Tasmin Mitchell coming up here in about 15 minutes. We'll talk about how in about 20 minutes. We'll talk about how LSU has responded emotionally after the big win against Kentucky. You got to get back up and be emotionally ready to go against a good Mississippi State team that's fighting to get into the NCAA tournament. So Tasmin Mitchell's coming up here in about 20 minutes. And we're assuming here also by the time we move through this hour, this LSU Stony Brook game will go final unless if they go to extra. So we'll get you a full recap of that. Been a really good show. We're glad you're with us. Hour number 3 is next.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I'm Doug Brown. NFL teams were planning on a salary cap for this year of about $240 to $245 million. Instead, it'll be $255 million, almost a 14% increase over last year, thanks to growing media revenue for the league. The Dolphins will cut cornerback Xavier Howard, their longest tenured player. Already today, Miami has cut veteran defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah. The Steelers cut starting center Mason Cole. To the NBA, the Celtics now have a 7-game lead on top of the Eastern Conference. Who could challenge them in the playoffs? ESPN's Tim Legler.
Julius Randle comes back and makes it back and looks like Julius Randle the way he's played this year. I'm going with the Knicks. The depth that they have, how hard they compete. They wear you out because they are just not going to give you space.
Tim Legler on Get Up. LeBron James should be back on the floor for tonight's Lakers game at home against the Spurs. James missed last night's loss to the Warriors with a left ankle injury.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're here in Lake Charles today at the newly minted Mockler Beverage Lake Charles facility. It's gone final over at the box. Stony Brook hands LSU its first loss of the season. Those damned Seawolves. They came in here and won that Super Regional in 2012. LSU got a little bit of payback in the regional in 2019. But Stony Brook, a winner today, 5-2 as LSU falls for the first time this year. As Muse told you at the end of last hour, a little bit of trouble in the field today for the Tigers, and just not enough offense for LSU. Just 2 runs on 6 hits, and they left 8 on base. So Tigers fall for the first time. They'll be back at it again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We'll see if they can rebound again against Northern Illinois before playing Stony Brook again on Sunday. All right, as I mentioned, we're here at Mockler in Lake Charles. We'll have Tasmin Mitchell in 12 minutes from right now, LSU assistant coach. Dan Palmer with Mockler, good enough to hang out with us here for a couple of minutes. Good day today, man.
Was a great day. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for inviting me and us to be here today. Why was it important for Mockler to find a presence here in Lake Charles?
For a lot of reasons. I mean, this is a great community, a great operation that we were able to take a control of, following the footsteps of a family that's been here since 1953, I think. So we're really excited to get in here and get with the McNeese with Coach Wade that you had on earlier. That partnership that we have with Bud Light, similar to what we do with LSU. Bud Light is sports, and Bud Light is us, and we're excited to be a part of the community and bring it to people.
Yeah, man. We saw the Super Bowl ad. We had Peyton and Emmett in it. Do y'all get any input at all?
We do not.
I didn't,
but we love the
so.
ads. Peyton, that Super Bowl ad was great. Peyton's a great New Orleans guy. He's a great steward of the brand, and with Shane Gillis, we're super fired up about having him now on the Bud Light wagon. And man, a lot of good things ahead with that brand, and just like us with Mockler Beverage, now that we go New Orleans through Baton Rouge all the way over to the state line here, now that we got Southwest Beverage acquired, and it's now Mockler Beverage. So we'll run up to Fort Johnson now, and Bud Light's doing their Folds of Honor thing where they give back to the fallen heroes. So and all the way up to Alexandria. So we got a large footprint, we got a lot of scale, and we're really excited to be a part of these new communities.
Yeah, and one of the things I know I always get to talk about when I get to talk about Mockler is it's a family-owned company. There's such a sense of community and pride within the company, but also how much Mockler vis-a-vis these brands give back to the community? So, I mean, you mentioned Southwest Beverage, 1953. I mean, there's a lot of synergies there between the two companies, I would imagine. So the opportunity for Mockler to give back to these communities would exist as well.
100%. I mean, what Mockler does is fantastic in the Baton Rouge community, and we've been doing it since 1987. We're a fabric of it, not only with our community sponsorships, but the way we do the LSU athletics and the way we are with Saints. We want to be a part of everybody's good time, and we're that's not unique. They've been doing it here for a while, and we're able to meet with the guys at McNeese, stuff that's been started before, and we're just ready to plug and play and enhance what's already been set.
Yeah, if you weren't here at the start of the show, so we opened the show today with Coach Wade, Will Wade, our bud, who
Thanks,
stopped by.
bud.
It was as he's walking down the hall, did he or did he not? Yeah, I told you he was going to do it.
It was a great moment, man. He shouted from 50 feet away, "Thanks, bud."
That's my bud. But it was great. It was great to see Coach Wade, but with Will and their athletic director Heath was here as well. What is that partnership like with Bud Light and McNeese?
Yeah, so it's a corporate sponsorship, so we have signing assets and in-game assets that we take advantage of. But again, what we're trying to do in partnership with Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light is just enhance that. So take everything that the great people of Lake Charles and the great fans of McNeese have seen, and hopefully as these years go on, we can enhance the in-game experience, maybe some like text to win, some giveaway programs, just whatever it is to connect the consumer with the McNeese sponsorship is really where we're that integral part to connect those two.
It is. I mean, one of the things that I get to talk about a lot, obviously, certainly the McNeese partnership now, but in Baton Rouge with LSU and with the Saints. I mean, it kind of sounds pretty obvious to say, like, well, why would there be such a focus on sports? Well, people drink beer while they watch sports. Obviously, it's your demo, but it feels like it's even deeper than that when we talk about the connective tissue between what you all at Mockler have done with some of these brands as well. So besides obviously just selling beer to sports fans, what else makes sense there?
Well, sky's the limit. I mean, you look at what we did with Kim Mulkey with the national championship bottle with LSU.
Can you tell how that came about?
I mean, I tell you what, it happened almost overnight. I mean, usually to get custom-made bottles from a national brewer is a work of due diligence and months of planning. And basically, because of our faith behind the brand, the people of Anheuser-Busch believed that what we were doing was to sell more product, to really enhance the brand. And man, Coach Mulkey, I wasn't on that meeting, but I heard it was fantastic. She was all in and wanted that, and it was great for that women's national championship last year. Those sparrings with Iowa with our girls and Caitlin Clark, it just was so great. And for us to be able to take that and maximize it and put it on a bottle, and not only for us but for them. Yeah. It was great for the sports, great for the women's basketball. So it really was a great synergistic partnership to get that out there.
I think I'd heard that's the first time there was ever a women's team on a bottle. As far as I know. So it's pretty. Leave it to Kim Mulkey to get that done.
I tell you what, she's a force to be reckoned with.
And now we get to see if we could do it for Coach Wade and the Cowboys.
I told him.
Let's go. They already got the colors right.
That's what I told him. Let's go.
Let's get a little gold mixed in there as well here. It is really cool. The facility here has you can tell they've had a long partnership with McNeese. Their jerseys framed for all sports all throughout the facility here, which is really cool to see when you see brands and community kind of like touch points with the schools that are community based. It's a really awesome thing to see. Like when there is that synergy between the two.
Yep, absolutely.
Dan Palmer with Mockler. Hey, we're hanging out today, right? We're gonna have a big party. Paris County Lions here.
Paris County. We got food. We got beverage. We got people from Alexandria, Leesville, Lake Charles. We're having a good time over here.
It's not open to everybody though. Like,
not open to the public.
Don't just show up and knock on the door, right? I'm just saying, like, when I get done talking, I get to go eat some good food and and maybe have a cold pop or two.
You bet you will.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you for the invite, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate the partnership, and we're thrilled to be here today. It's after further review. We are here at Lake Charles, today, and we're going to continue. When we come back, Tasmin Mitchell is going to be with us, and looking forward to that. Former Tiger great, of course, part of the Final Four team back in 2006, now a member of Matt McMahon's staff. Big one for the Tigers tomorrow against Mississippi State, so we'll preview it with Tasmin when we return here on a Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
Love telling you about Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. And, man, got great news earlier today that Rouse's was named one of the top independent grocers in the country. And it just makes so much sense when you look at Rouse's and what they've been able to do since they opened their door. They are so committed to local. One of the things that stood out to me earlier in 2023 when I got to go to the Rouse's Media Day, when all their collection of media partners were in one room together and listening to Donnie Rouse talk. And when they talk about their Rouse's branded products, everything they do possibly is locally sourced. Every single thing, every ingredient, from fish to rice and sugar and anything they can get local, that's where they start. That's their commitment to Louisiana. It's Rouse's. They are the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. They've been a great partner of ours. Rouse's, there's 69 locations from right here in Lake Charles all the way east to Orange Beach, Alabama. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Ford has new 23 Ford F-150 STX trucks for only $39,995. $39,995 plus 1.9% financing for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, basketball Tigers got a big one Saturday night at the PMAC, 7:30. Mississippi State coming in. Bulldogs, a 2.5-point favorite at the Maravich Center, so the Tigers will try to pull off back-to-back upset wins. Tasmin Mitchell, former Tiger great, now part of Matt McMahon's staff, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Taz, how are you, man?
I'm great, Matt. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's my pleasure, and I appreciate you for making a couple of minutes. Hey, look, you played in obviously a lot of huge games. Now you see it from another side as a coach. Just put me on the floor. What was it like for you on Wednesday when the tip-in went in and the celebration ensued?
Oh, man, I was ecstatic, man. You know, I was happy, man. I was thanking God, man, because, you know, them guys work hard, man. You know, them guys work hard night in, night out, man, at practice and stuff. I know the results as far as the record-wise don't show, man, but them guys put out a lot, man. They play with a lot of energy, play with a lot of pizzazz, and I'm just happy that they can finally reap the reward of a comeback.
You know, it's interesting, Taz, because that's 2 in a row now. But let me ask you why. I talked to Matt McMahon earlier the week, and I asked him. I said, "Are you more disappointed with the deficits or encouraged by the team's ability to come back?" And it was kind of funny, but like, how would you answer that? Like, what goes into sometimes falling into those holes, but then similarly digging yourselves out of them?
Well, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I do not like to be in a deficit. I do not like to be down
like that. Of course.
Nobody want to be down because sometimes you stay down, you know. But I mean, like I said, it's a blessing and a curse, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guess being down makes you play harder to come back up to get to get the league and get stops. But if you're already up, you kind of get laxed a little bit, and you let the other team come up. So I'd rather be up the whole time and maintain the score and control the game the whole time. I don't like having a heart attack. I don't like dying and coming back to life on the sideline, man. I hate it, man. But you know, I'm happy with how hard our guys show fight, and that's how you show fight, man, right there. You know, being down so much, man. So like I say, it's a blessing and a curse, man. I would rather stay up and continue to be up and win the game.
Let's make that happen on Saturday night against Mississippi State. Hey,
yes, the plan.
Hey, do you have and I if you don't have an answer, that's fine. But Jalen Cook hadn't played the last 2 games. Can you give us an update on how he's feeling?
He's feeling okay. He's going day by day, man. He has a little strain in his hamstring that's uncomfortable for him, you know.
Yeah.
And a little strain in his hamstring that's uncomfortable. So we're taking it day by day with him, man. He's doing rehab, and hopefully we have him here back soon.
How I know last year at Tulane he dealt with that a little bit as well and played through a tough injury. So how is the team, like, when you don't have it's Taz, that's one of the more impressive things, right? Like, you don't have Jalen Cook, yet you've beaten back-to-back ranked teams without your starting point guard. So look, Trey Hannibal's been a big part of that. Who has taken the lion's share of that, where you say, man, this guy has stepped up in that absence?
Oh man, I think to be honest with you, I'm not gonna say one guy. I think a lot of guys stepping up and filling their role. It's like next man in line. Like, you know, injuries happen. So it's the next man in line. You know, we hate it happen to Jalen Cook, but it's time for somebody else has to step up. So I think, me personally, I don't think it's just one person. I think we all stepped up as a collective whole, as a team. I think all the guys stepped up and made more of a responsibility, you know, especially our guard play.
Yeah.
I think that's been terrific since Jalen been out. So, like I say, we hate it. You know, we hate the situation with Jalen is happening as far as injury wise. But it's time for everybody to step up, man. You know, Matt, you played baseball before, man. You know how it be, man. Next man up. Next man up. We got to move on. Next man up. You know, next man up, man. So that's what it is, man. Everybody has that next man up mentality. Yeah.
My career ended when my high school playing days ended, man. I don't think that I ever played at a high enough level to talk about me knowing that that mentality. But Tasmin Mitchell's with us here for a couple more minutes. LSU, of course, former LSU great, now LSU assistant coach as well. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Mississippi State if we could. They're a really strong defensive team. When you watch Mississippi State on film, what stands out?
Their size, man. Their size and their strength. You know, they're tough too as well. You saw what they did with Tennessee early in the season. So Tennessee is one of the remarkable teams in the country. and they really handle them really well, man. So what I see when we watch the film and see them, man, I see a team that play connected defense. They play connected defense. They play off one another. They help each other out, and it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough to play against these guys, man. It's gonna be tough, like it is with any team in SEC. But Mississippi State has a strong defensive base, and that's what they rely on. They stop you from scoring because they know offensively they okay. Offensively, they're okay, but they hang their hat up on defensively.
Yeah, they allow 67 points a game defensively. It's one of the top defensive scoring teams
in the country.
Yeah, in the country. They're a handful. But Taz, they've also State has struggled to win on the road. They've only got one road conference win this year, and that was at Missouri. You played in obviously every venue in the league during your time in Baton Rouge. What's it like why do teams sometimes like State, which is a good team, which is pushing for an NCAA tournament bid, why is it so hard sometimes to break through on the road?
Man, I think when you got a good fan base, man, a lot of teams in the SEC have good fans, man, and that's that extra person you have to play against, man, and the extra in a venue you're not comfortable. I mean, you're not used to, and a lot has to go right to win on the road, man. You have to play almost near perfect to win on the road, man. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of mental thoughts go on, man. Like how's the lighting? How's the trajectory of the goal? How deep is the background of the goal? Like, man, you don't have that long to get used to it. So basically, you're not used to you're going in and playing against a facility that's already against you. So you have to have a mature mindset to go in like, hey, this is nothing but a home game to me. This is nothing but – that's how I used to do it now. That's how I used to do it. And I try to tell our guys, man, you got to approach this like it's a home game. You got to approach it like it's a home game. Easier said than done, though. But that's how I approach it all the time because I play better on the road sometimes. I ain't going to lie to you. I play better on the road.
I mean, you're a guy that stepped on campus as a freshman and averaged double digits on a Final Four team. So I mean, you figured it out early and throughout.
Yeah, I figured it out early, man. I figured it out early.
Throughout your entire career, one of the all-time greats, Tasmin Mitchell, is with us here. Hey, last thing for you, man. You referenced earlier how the guys have worked so hard and maybe it hasn't always shown in the win-loss column, but Taz, they've gotten themselves to a point now at 14-12. You're above 500. You're one game away from 500 now in conference play at 6-7. Like, realistically, do you guys talk at all about the possibility of earning a berth in the postseason, or is it really just the kind of the cliched coach speak, one game at a time?
The cliche coach's speech, man, one game at a time. We can't get ahead of ourselves here, man. But of course, that's the ultimate goal, man. If you're an NCAA college player, your goal is to play in the NCAA tournament. That's it. You can go game by game, but that's the goal, to win an NCAA tournament, to go to the Final Four, to win a national championship. That's the goal. But with us, man, us coaches, man, remind me, I'm on the coaching side now. Yeah. So, now I can tell you it's one game at a time, man, with these guys, man. One game at a time is, like Coach Matt say, it's the mindset, it's your accountability, it's you're doing it together. That's Coach Matt, man. One game at a time. He put on the board every single day. One game at a time, 1-0. Let's go 1-0 today. So that's how we thinking right here, Matt. But, the ultimate goal is to play in the NCAA tournament.
Hey, Taz, last thing for you, man. You just reminded me of that. You obviously you played for Coach Brady here. There was obviously a transition there as well. And then you were on staff under Coach Wade, and now you're on staff under Coach McMahon. So you've been at LSU with a lot of different coaches. If I asked you singularly, what is the thing that Matt McMahon does differently that stands out to you? Like, what makes him unique relative to all the other coaches you played for or coached with at LSU? What would you say? What's that defining feature for him?
Oh, man. Like I said, I play, every coach is different in their way. You know what I'm saying? Brady's different, great coach. Trent was different, great coach. Will was different, awesome coach. Matt, with Coach Matt, man, I see more of a care factor. He cares about these players. He wants to help them. It's about. Of course, we want to win basketball games, but it's about more than basketball with Coach Matt, man. He cares, man. He loves them players, man. And he gonna pour it all He's gonna pour it all, he's gonna pour it all into them. So if I'm not saying that them coaches that I played with and I coached with didn't care, but Coach Matt really shows his care and concern. Man, he cares about them. He wants to teach them, and he wants to help them off the floor as well. Not even about going to other places, not even about going to the NBA or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? He just want to care about their well-being off the floor, and I see it, and that's what makes him different. He loves these players, man. He loves who he coaching, and he is tied in with them, and he believes in them.
It is obvious to those that watch. Tasmin Mitchell, former Tiger great, one of the all-time greats at LSU, of course, and now on Matt McMahon's staff there. Tigers got a big one tomorrow at 7:30 against Mississippi State at the PMAC. Get out there, be loud. All right, Taz, we appreciate you as always, man. Continued success. We'll catch up down the line, all right?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me, man.
Always, man. It's our pleasure. Tasmin Mitchell, one of the greatest ever to wear the purple and gold over at the basketball program. Of course, a Denham Springs legend, LSU legend, now member of Matt McMahon's staff. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Feels right. We're celebrating great local Louisiana businesses that I get to highlight Michelli here every single day. Michelli. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. That's where you can find them. Of course, I always tell you to check out their LinkedIn and their Facebook as well. Do a great job updating LinkedIn if you want new content, you want examples of the work they do. But you can always go to the website, because the website at Michelli.com is it's a font of knowledge and information about what they do. Most people in the industries know Michelli for their scales. They're our nation's largest distributor of scales, but they do so much more, servicing darn near every industry, from aerospace and aggregates and agriculture to the chemical and petrochemical industries to energy and food and beverage and laboratories and manufacturing, transportation, logistics, waste, recycling. You need something weighed or measure, they do it. At Michelli, they say we show the world what measurement can do. They are an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory, and if you have, machinery or equipment that needs to be calibrated that can't leave your facility, or you don't want to leave your facility, Michelli can always do on-site calibration with their mobile calibration lab. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. The big story of the day, of course, the Saints restructured Derek Carr's contract. I'm not going to yell and scream. We talked about it in hour number one. If you want my full comments on it, we opened the show today. Will Wade was here with us. We're in Lake Charles here at the new Mockler facility. They bought Mockler acquired Southwest Beverage in Lake Charles, Alexandria, Leesville. They were super, super kind enough to invite us to be here today, so we're doing the show here from the conference room. But we're excited. We're thrilled to be here. But Will Wade opened the show with us. And the second segment, we talked about Derek Carr restructuring the contract. And I didn't rant or rave or scream. I told you it's like when a parent, you find out your kid's getting married and maybe you don't approve and you let them know how you feel. Well, they do it anyway. The wedding day comes along. You're just going to sit there in your tux in the front row to church and support your child. That's where I am today. They're restructuring Derek Carr. I don't approve. You know that. Well, we knew that weeks ago. Today was just a wedding. So I'm sitting here in my tux in the front row, and I'm just going to smile, and we'll go on to the reception later and have a few cold pops and some food, and that'll be that, right? That's it. I'll drink away my sorrows that Derek Carr is going to be the Saints quarterback for at least 2 more years. Ugh. Maybe I'm going to convince myself to yell and scream what's going to happen before I get out of here. There was a pretty interesting piece over at CBS Sports about it was a free agent mock draft. Basically, you're starting to see this now, is projections of what would be the best landing spot for some big-name free agents. And the one that was projected to the Saints was interesting. We talked about Zadarius Smith earlier this week. Well, it's another edge rusher, and I want to talk about that when we come back. Glad to have you aboard with us here. It's a Friday edition of AFR. Don't you move.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Y'all, have you looked at the weather? We are going to get into the 80s by Monday. Yes, spring is here. Remember, before your lawn starts turning green again, treat your lawn now for weeds so you don't have the weed issue whenever spring has sprung. go to Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siega near Airline, LA-16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. They have the products, and they have the know-how. So if you're not sure what to get, just find someone in a blue Clegg's Nursery shirt, and they will have the answers for you. Their horticulturists are awesome. And, of course, it's an awesome time to just plant something. Buy something and plant it in your yard. Add some color and some life. Clegg's Nursery can help. Buy local. Shop local. Tell them Ed sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Value Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bighorn trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after.
Failure happens to us all, but it's how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is if you get back up when you fall. You gotta get up.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
So CBS Sports today, it was Cody Benjamin over at CBS Sports, has a what he termed a free agency mock draft. I thought it was an interesting spin on the whole mock draft cycle and everything like that. But there's more about free agents, right? So instead of an NFL draft or just projects, he did a free agency mock draft. Okay, what free agent might fit best, where, how they'd pick. And a couple of stabs. Mike Evans to the Bears. I would not be sad at all to see Mike Evans out of Tampa. It feels like that's going to happen. I don't know that while Mike Evans is a first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't know if Tampa is going to be willing to extend at the price they'd have to Mike Evans at this point in his career. Just speculation. They say Kirk Cousins to the Patriots. That, now again, this is a mock draft for free agency. It's a total hypothetical thing, but Cousins to the Patriots would be interesting. I mean, would that solve the Patriots' quarterback issue as opposed to them drafting a quarterback? And that's fascinating because the Patriots have the third pick, and we're all sitting here wondering what's going to happen with Jaden Daniels. And the general thought is he's going to be one of those first three picks. From a Saints perspective, you want as many quarterbacks and receivers off the board as possible before you pick at 14, because the more that happens, the more likely a really good offensive lineman or maybe a Brock Bowers might fall to you at 14. It was Saquon Barkley to the Chargers. That would be interesting if Jim Harbaugh got Saquon. Remember, the Giants franchise tagged Saquon this season, so he played this year under the franchise tag. And there's just the devaluation of the running back position is so evident and quite honestly justified. There's just no spot on an NFL roster where it's easier to find a replacement than running back. So, but for the Saints, it was interesting that he noted for New Orleans, Jadeveon Clowney was who he targeted for the Saints. And I think it's interesting because, and by the way, the format was just like you would assume. It was, you would have a 1 through 32 where you would pick. And for the Saints, he had Jadeveon Clowney. And maybe that's most interesting to me because we talked about Clowney 2 years ago intently because New Orleans was pursuing Jadeveon Clowney. And ultimately, they did not land him, as we know. But it was a player that made sense for New Orleans a couple of years ago because of their need at the position. And I guess maybe it's interesting because they still have a need there. And it's a hole they dug themselves in by having the cap situation they did. COVID hit. The salary cap number went way down because of the lack of revenue from COVID. And so the Saints, who had been, for all intents and purposes, buying on credit, saw their, quote-unquote, for lack of a better phrase, their salary slash, and so they didn't make as much money to be able to afford their lifestyle. And as a result, Trey Hendrickson and Marcus Williams, you lost these free agents that you really would have liked to have signed. And now Cam Jordan has gotten older. You have thankfully hit on Carl Granderson, but you took a stab at defensive end in the draft with Isaiah Foskey, and he played 10 games for you this year and had no sacks. So hopefully there's a high ceiling for Foskey in his future. I don't know that I believe it, but hopefully there is. So maybe there is a look at a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, who spent this year with the Ravens and had 9.5 sacks. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney's 31 years old. I know we'd look at Clowney and think of him as, at least I do anyway, as an old player, an older player. And he's been around the NFL for more than a decade now, or for a decade. But, this past year, he had 43 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4.5, stuffs. I would gladly, in a millisecond, take that productivity from a rotational defensive end piece. I'd still think Cam Jordan would be your starter and Carl Granderson would be a starter. But if Clowney came in here, remember, Cam Jordan had 2 sacks last year, 2. Now, Clowney was playing in a much better defense in Baltimore, but that's a guy that if you could get on a 1-year mercenary deal that fits that need, as opposed to using the 14th pick on a defensive end, you could fill that need, use the 14th overall pick on perhaps your franchise left tackle. That seems more fruitful for the Saints, to me anyway, than targeting a defensive end in the draft. Because you've done that. You drafted Marcus Davenport. You drafted Peyton Turner. Last year you drafted Isaiah Foskey. And I know what you could say. Hey, look, well, did you draft Trevor Penning? Yes, you did. But it doesn't change the fact that your defense is still good, and your offensive line was rated as one of the bottom 5 offensive lines collectively in the entire NFL this year. So you have got to – it doesn't matter where your draft capital was spent before. It doesn't change the fact that your offensive line is bad now. So, with free agency starting before the draft, you kind of have to make that decision. Are you going to go target an edge rusher in free agency, or are you going to try to target starting offensive line help in free agency? And if not, then whichever you don't do, you have to address in the draft. What I'm saying is I would rather spend a relative bargain on Jadeveon Clowney for a year and see if you could make that work as a rotational piece and draft in a draft where you are likely to have a franchise left tackle sitting there at 14. Like Joe Alt's not going to be there, but Fashanu from Penn State could be. Fuaga, I believe is his name, from Oregon State could be. And if you scout these guys and believe that they could be a franchise left tackle, I would rather draft my franchise left tackle at 14 in a player that in any other year would be a surefire top 10 pick, and you have a chance to take him at 14. I'd rather that than draft another edge rusher when I feel like you could address the pass rush in free agency. What you can't do in free agency is address left tackle. Anybody that any team that has a franchise left tackle is not letting their franchise left tackle walk in free agency ever. You could make a trade in the manner in which Houston did for Laramie Tunsil from Miami, but what assets do the Saints have that they could trade for somebody's franchise left tackle? So replacing Teron Armstead is something the Saints have not been able to do since he left for Miami, and that's something I feel like they have to do. So yes, if there's an opportunity to add Jadeveon Clowney or a player like Jadeveon Clowney as maybe a one-year mercenary at defensive end and draft your franchise at left tackle, I would rather that than, say, drafting Jared Verse or one of the or I don't know if Dallas Turner is on the board at 14. But if you gave me my pick, would I rather draft a potential franchise left tackle or a franchise edge rusher? I would take the left tackle in this draft, and I think there's going to be someone there at 14. All right, it's After Further Review. Friday show is brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We appreciate you for being here with us. Always love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson and the gang, awesome, man. They do awesome work and have for years, man. The Williamson Eye Center has been around for more than 70 years. More than 70 years in Baton Rouge. And it's eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery. So the eye care, of course, go have your eye exam. Schedule your annual eye exam because you should always have an annual eye exam. Eyewear, if you do wear contacts or glasses, the Williamson Eye Center can sell you those contacts or glasses. And then, of course, eye surgery. I've told you about my experience with LASIK. If it's LASIK or any other refractive procedure, the Williamson Eye Center can help. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. Just schedule that. Let this be your push. Schedule that consultation and go see Dr. Blake Williamson over at the Williamson Eye Center. See if you can change your life by ditching contacts and glasses forever. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Been a good show. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Will Wade was here as we opened the show from Lake Charles. Had Will Wade with us on site. I see, I think Paulie already clipped that video. He's got it up on a lot of our 104.5 ESPN social media channels. If you want to check it there, you can. We appreciate Christian Clark. NOLA.com covers the Pels, was here in Hour 2. Tasmin Mitchell just a bit ago. Justin Frommer was also here in Hour 2. 247 Gene's page, who covers Mississippi State, as we've spent a little time today previewing the Tigers and the Bulldogs. If you didn't hear Jerry Palm with us yesterday, you can catch that on demand as well. But Jerry Palm, bracketologist with CBS Sports, I can't believe, really can't believe we actually had to have the conversation about LSU's resume and could they be a tournament team. And the short answer that we got from Jerry is no. LSU can't make the NCAA tournament. Crazy things can, I guess, happen, but it would require no margin for error. Like LSU would have to win out, which means they'd finish the regular season on a 7-game winning streak, and then they'd have to get quad 1 wins in the SEC tournament, meaning you'd have to find a way through that tournament to beat teams like Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, South Carolina, to continue to stack quality wins to help boost your net ranking. And, I mean, you got 4 quad 1 wins right now. So there's just not enough opportunity, it doesn't seem, left for the NCAA tournament for this team, short of going and winning the SEC tournament, which I don't think any of us think that's going to happen. But, don't let that distract you from the very real possibility of earning a bid to postseason play, because the NIT is a real possibility for this team. But tomorrow's a great opportunity. Saturday's a great opportunity for LSU if they can go get it. Okay, it's After Further Review. Friday show is brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're here at Mockler Beverage, Lake Charles, and thrilled to be here as they cut the proverbial ribbon today on this new partnership as Mockler has acquired Southwest Beverage. So Lake Charles, Alexandria, shout out to our audience on 94.7, and, of course, in Leesville as well. So we're not going to final break of the show. Come back and wrap up a busy Friday edition of AFR. Don't you move.
AFR.
As we cruise down the final stretch of the show, it is always my pleasure to be able to tell you about our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air. I mentioned, of course, we're getting to temperatures in the 80s next week. So pretty soon you're going to be cranking up the ACs. If you haven't done it already, of course, I'm going to start telling you about the preseason AC tune-up. Call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. If you have an issue with your heater or your AC, call my friends in the big yellow vans and trucks, the ones with the giant clock on the side. You see them all over town. I trust River City's 1 Hour Air. I recommend you do the exact same. They're going to come to your house. They're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. They value your time, your money. If you have an issue, mention the Moscona special. They'll knock $25 off any system repair. They treat you right. They do good work at a fair price. They make you comfortable when they come into your home. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Bayou Ford has new 23 Ford F-150 STX trucks for only $39,995. $39,995 plus 1.9% financing for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The best.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Friday edition of AFR, presented by, as mentioned, Don Juan Cigar Bar. Really quickly, I did want to mention this, and this is an unpaid testimonial. I just wanted to mention this because I feel like somebody needs to hear it. I, over the years, have told you before about Crystal Poche. She has a business called Restored Motions, and effectively it's a type of, I guess the closest comp I would say is myofascial release. But I've lived in chronic back pain forever. I tell people often I watched Warren Morris's home run as a 14-year-old laying on my back with a heating pad in my bed on my back. So I've dealt with back pain forever. And I've tried everything from painkillers and muscle relaxers. Muse, you can laugh, but yes, I did have a pain specialist tell me try cannabis, and I tried medicinal marijuana, like gummies, whatever, for back pain. It didn't do well. I've tried acupuncture. I've tried everything. And I saw Crystal earlier this week for a session, and it's the first time in my life, and I thought about this because it's the first time in my life I've ever felt like I had an answer that could take me out of that pain. And there was a woman there, and I heard her telling her story, and she was saying like she doesn't sleep well, and she can't lay on a pillow at night, and she deals with all this pain. And I just thought, like, I just needed to say this because somebody needs to hear it. Because somebody listening right now just lives in chronic pain, and I know the feeling. It's helpless. Like, I can remember being in my 20s and 30s thinking, if I feel this much pain now, what's it going to be like when I'm 40, 50, 60, 70? Like, do I even want to live in that much pain as I go along? So I don't know why I felt compelled to say this today, just to say that if someone right now, if you're living in chronic pain and you feel like you've tried everything, I've been there, and this is the thing that I found that has helped me. And it's Restored Motions. Crystal Poche is her name, and hopefully that can help somebody if you go book a session, because it's helped me tremendously. So, again, that's an unpaid testimonial. That's just something that I felt like I wanted to say. It was on my head and my heart that I needed to say because somebody listening right now needed to hear that. It's after further review. We're down the stretch. Nathan Allen sent a text to the show and said, we need Otter Locks, man. Musso, what's our final count for Otter Locks for the week? Am I right? Was he 10-1-1 this week?
Correct.
In 4 days?
Correct. 10-1-1.
The Otter had himself an incredible week. Now, Jimmy does not come on with us for Otter Locks on Fridays. As he said, he starts his weekend way too early to come on Fridays at 5:50. But here's what I would recommend. If you are a sports bettor, go listen to Jimmy and Charlie's show. We podcast their show. It's Live at Lunch is the name of the show. You can go to any Apple, Spotify, or just type in Live at Lunch. And you can skim the show to get the picks, or just go to the very end, like the very end of the show. Jimmy will run through some of his college basketball picks. So I usually do that on Saturday morning. I'll go skim through the show and get all his plays and get them, and I'll play them. So, look, I've learned that, if nothing else, as a sports bettor, is when you see a streak, you ride it till that streak ends. I mean, you just, as Phil Steele has taught us, you bet a streak because you keep betting it, you'll win many times, but you bet it till you lose, well, you only lose once. You bet it many times till you lose, you only lose once. So I'll be on with whatever the Otters got this weekend. So we apologize for not getting Otter Locks to you. It has been a pretty charmed last 7 days for LSU athletics. Gymnastics won last Friday and scored over a 198. The baseball team went 4-0. Softball has won 3 straight games with 3 straight walk-offs. Beth Torina got her 500th career win last week. Congratulations. The men's basketball beat South Carolina, then beat Kentucky. The women's basketball team beat Texas A&M and then beat Auburn last night. I feel like I might be leaving someone else out, but the bottom line is this was an incredible week if you're in LSU. LSU baseball won yesterday. Now, LSU baseball lost today. For those that missed it, the Tigers fell to Stony Brook 5-2. So first loss of the season for Jay Johnson's squad. We'll see how they bounce back tomorrow against Northern Illinois at 1 o'clock. Then again on Sunday at 1 o'clock back against Stony Brook. So we'll see if LSU, how they bounce back after their first loss of the season. But Gymnastics is about to get going here in about 6 minutes from right now. They're at Florida, but what a time, man! I know I love, like all of you, I love football season because we all love football. We're football obsessed, but during football season we go so deep on one thing, and in the springtime we get to go wide on many different things that we all enjoy. It's one of the reasons I love springtime and spring sports as well. And hopefully you do as well. So that's just about going to do it for us here as we wrap up here from Mockler Beverage Lake Charles. Such a really an honor to be. It's never lost on me the responsibility I have when brands allow me the opportunity to represent them. So I love choosing great partners, and our friends at Mockler have certainly been that for a long time, and I'm glad to be here. Have a great week. Muse Pauly, Bo Wegman on site. Thank you. We'll see you Monday at 3.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated